Welcome out to It's All Been Done Radio Hour. This episode is kind of unique. It is a Q&A session we did at the Columbus Podcast Meetup last spring. We thought you might be interested in hearing since you seem to like our Meet the Cast episodes. So here's your chance to hear what some people wanted to ask the cast. If you have other questions for the cast, go ahead and email those to qa@itsallbeendoneradio.com and we will answer them on a future episode. But in the meantime, enjoy the Columbus Podcast Meetup. Now, before you get to that, please check out our parent network, IABDpresents.com. They have podcast, written work, video series, and more. One of the written series is G.O.D. is My BFF, which ran for 4 seasons as a weekly text-based series. All 4 seasons are complete and available on the website. So, go to IABDpresents.com and check it out. Also, a big shout out to Circle 270 Media, which this podcast is a part of. Now enjoy the episode.
And we have our first one.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
So I saw you stepping away and standing away from your mic. So tell me a little bit about these mics and the sensitivity, as well as how you level different people standing at different spaces with different voice volumes.
Mr. Stefanchik?
So they're fairly sensitive. They have a pretty good range. It's about a more than a 90-degree angle. So traditionally, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll have 2 people at a mic, and we'll have them sort of at a diagonal where one person's talking here, the other person's talking there, and it picks up just fine. Typically, to get the most out of it, like you saw, we've kind of trained the habit of like stepping away if you don't have another couple lines for a while, stepping away so the other person can really get in front of it. It's just kind of balanced in between. Most people, if they tend to get really loud, they'll instinctively step back. So that helps. Sometimes it clips, but
Excellent. Do you find that takes long for new actors to acclimate to?
A little bit, yes. Yeah, it takes a little bit to get used to. We've been very slowly trying to do this sort of V shape with the mics, because initially they were all straight line, but we're trying to get everyone to sort of, like, if this is the mic, be here, so that we can maintain eye contact with the other actors and still talk into the mic, because what happened sometimes was somebody would be here and they'd be addressing someone over there, and so they just turn and talk like this, which is just into the void. So trying to position it this way helps so that you can still see everyone and you can talk into the microphone, because we do perform in front of a live audience. So your instinct is to perform for the audience, but we also have to remember we're recording for a podcast. So
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, I got a couple questions.
Okay.
Well, first off, an observation. You guys are pretty impressive.
Oh, thank you.
And that gets to my questions. The script writing, the rhythm, the spirit's pretty consistent through the group, which is impressive, but yet as actors, you stood out individually. I was just watching from a production perspective. And the third question is, how do you break in a new person?
That's a good question. With the writing, I've written almost all the scripts myself. Mr. Argenbright back here has recently started contributing some of the stories, and then I work with him to make sure that we keep the tone consistent. I think the reason the spirit is consistent is most of these people have been with me since the beginning. In 2 years, we have yet to lose a troupe member, which is pretty awesome, considering we have several that live 2 hours or more away, one that lives in the state of Delaware, one that lives in the state of Arizona, and still travel to perform with us. So the fact that they've all done had this much commitment blows me away. And just all this time getting used to each other and working with one another. Kristen would be a good one to address on how long it takes to bring a newbie in, because she's our newest troupe member. Would you like to talk about that?
Sure. So I'm going to go over there so I can look at you and not do the thing that we just said. I have some background in performing, so it wasn't completely intimidating, but I think they'd been together for a whole year before I came on. Our band played the theme songs one year, and I thought it was pretty cool, so I just started auditioning as a guest star and kept auditioning and kept taking on more work and making myself instrumental to this one.
She read the linchpin beforehand.
So it can be very intimidating, but it's a very welcoming group, and I don't know. They're just all such great people. It wasn't that difficult at all, but yeah, it took a little bit at first to kind of worm my way in. But if you really want to be a part of it, they'll find something for everyone to do. We've had so many great guest stars who keep coming back, and yeah, they're all part of the extended family.
Yeah, we have usually about 3 guest stars a month, and our regular troup's like 20 people. So the guest stars are playing off of all these guys as well. We don't just stick them out there by themselves.
I get one last question. Okay, technically, what did it take to pull all the equipment together and get it to function well on a consistent basis? I have a hard enough time.
Yeah, we
with
had some issues at the beginning,
Okay.
for sure. Well, at first we borrowed some really old equipment Nick had, and so we had some issues with that. But then Shane knows a lot about this stuff, so he started just making a list of what he wanted, and slowly over time we bought him piece by piece to put it together. Did you want to talk about how you put it together?
Sure. So they had the microphones already, so I didn't have to worry about picking those out or anything, and the stands. Really, it was just
what mics are you using? Just what mics?
These are MXL 2008s. I don't know. I've never purchased them.
2006 or so, right there.
Yeah, I think there's one that's different.
Well, yes.
Be different.
Yeah, they're all I don't know, about 100 each, maybe a little
Something
less
like that, yeah.
So not too bad. And I mean, you have some at home for your personal recording.
Yeah, because originally what happened was that when we set it up, the oldest equipment that was the Mac. I had a really old Mac, and it was running at super low RAM because I didn't think ahead. And it got outdated pretty fast. So long story short, too late. The microphones I had, Jimmy utilized, and the ones they have, where's the container at? It comes with the shock mount. And it's like $100. It's like $100. Without the shock mount, I think it's like 60. And so and it comes in a foam. Yeah, very nice.
Minimize that.
So he bought all those, and then when Shane stepped in, the big thing that we were trying to do is I had an old FireWire board, and because my Mac was old, FireWire died for the Mac, and so then he stepped in and.
Yeah, I sent him a list of computer parts to get. Nothing too fancy. I think it's like I don't know, 8 gigs of RAM and just pretty lower end stuff. It's nothing like I think altogether the computer itself was probably less than 600.
Oh yeah, it's definitely less than that.
So and then recently we swapped out just like a desktop case for a rack mounted case. I found this really nice case online, and so and then we also have a mixer that's in there that you can come and see after. It's a Focusrite Scarlett 18i20.
That was a nice purchase.
That was probably the most. That was more than the computer itself. It's an 8 mic input, so we have room to expand if we need to. It's got a bunch of outs. Like we're running a mix out to your input. So when we're at Mad Lab Theater, June 10th at 5:30, we can hook right into their sound system as well and kind of get it going through the speakers. So people up in the top, we don't. It's not like a full stage like booming speakers, but it's enough that somebody in the back can hear some of the quieter folks, provided they talk into the microphones.
So hi, I'm Angelo, and I'm blown away. This is awesome.
Thank you.
And so one thing that I'd like to see, and you were doing it, I guess some of you were using like sound effects from your own voice, which is awesome. But I remember like seeing old footage where they'd use coconuts and things like that. And have you guys used props to do more sound effects for the back?
So Seamus, you want to address that?
Yeah. So the way that we originally started, I did primarily all the sound effects with either my mouth and or other props, and it got to one point where I had to have a huge table to be able to do everything.
Right.
And it also then got a little confusing trying to read my lines, then try to find which instruments or props I was trying to use, and so it got a lot easier once I just started creating the actual sound effects somewhere else, like at home or at Mad Lab, and then recorded it and then just put it on the computer. So then all I have to do is just press a button, and it's less likely for me to miss my place or miss the sound, and I can add different effects to make it sound better.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, the only reason I was thinking is because I remember seeing footage like back in the 30s or whatever, and sometimes the actors were in charge of different because of the complication.
Yeah.
And I was thinking during this whole show, like half of that would add to the comedy in some situations. That's true. Especially if they screw it
We've
up.
used some props occasionally, but
Yeah.
Seamus does a lot with the computer.
So, but awesome. But again, thanks
Thank you.
everybody.
Sure, thank
and
you.
This is
Thank you.
truly this. Again, I think this is going to be at least the future for podcast theater. So, awesome.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
This was fantastic. Thank you so much
you.
for performing.
Thanks for having us.
So, does this require a lot of rehearsal?
So, knowing from the beginning we were going to do a monthly show and I was not going to pay anybody, at least initially, ideally someday we'll be able to. Right now we don't. I wanted to make rehearsal as minimal as possible. So part of the nice thing about doing the radio style show is they can have their scripts in hand. So our typical process is we'll get together about 10 days before a show, read through, let everybody kind of get the giggles out, because the first reading's always got giggles. Let them all try their improv bits, because I don't know if you noticed some of the bits when they weren't looking at the script. Some of the best jokes are things these guys come up with, either at rehearsal or on the fly in the last minute, and just add them into the show and try to break their fellow cast members, which is great. And then the day of the show, we meet again in the theater and work it out, work kind of a final run through that everybody takes pretty seriously. And so really it's 2 rehearsals for each show.
So, do any of you have a background in improv?
Dallas?
I have a little bit of
Microphone.
I have a little bit of improv background. I did some stuff with Miami University when I was there, but other than that, I did that for a year, I think. But other than that, not really. Theater experience mostly.
Right. Chase and I were at OSU Department of Theater together just a few years ago. Not long at all.
Not long.
And there were some improv style classes there too, so very little bit, yeah.
So, any of you, is this your first go at live performing?
No.
Yes?
Keith's it is.
Well,
You want to talk?
In a sense, I've been on stage before. I used to play in bands a long time ago, and karaoke, of course, and that's pretty much it.
We've got a range of experience.
Right.
So with some people, this is their first thing, and some people have done a lot of community theater, high school, college.
Very good. Well, this was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if anybody wants to be in the show, we have an audition packet on our website every month, so you can always send audio clips and come guest star. Or video, yeah, whatever, as long as you send me clips.
Hi, I'm still Rob.
Still Rob.
So, have you explored or thought about moving away from comedy or expanding into some drama or especially radio horror shows?
Yeah.
So, since the beginning, Chase has been trying to convince me to do a second one every month for drama, but it's more of a time thing at this point to get basically a whole nother troupe together, because I know a lot of these guys could do both, but a lot of them also do other things, other theater programs. Chase and Kristen are in a band. Dallas is baking. Keith's doing audiobooks. Sam's doing a bunch of our marketing. I could go around and tell you what they're all doing, but the fact is we basically have to put together a whole nother troupe and find time to write a whole nother script, which at the moment is kind of intimidating. I've got a baby that's a month old, so yeah, I'm a little stretched, but we'll do some of our segments. We try to mix it up. We've got hopefully some scary-ish things at Halloween, but one of our segments was The Scary Dead, which was a zombie series. It was more comedy and melodrama than drama, but it was still sort of in that realm.
Daniel Kravitz can get serious.
Yeah, some of our segments get serious. We're primarily comedy, but you're watching these characters for a while, so every once in a while we need to pay off the emotional toll. Last fall we killed one of our leads after a year and a half, and we did a big funeral sequence and stuff, and that was very serious. So
She's not here.
No, she's not here. She's still in the troupe. She just plays other characters.
She's dead.
Yeah.
She's dead.
Yeah.
As you have progressed through and you're writing these scripts, knowing that you have a troupe of many different personalities and people are sort of tied to the voice that they portray, if you find scheduling conflicts last minute, do you change the script, and what's your process there?
I strongly encourage them to give me as much of a heads up as they can. Typically, I do write the scripts 4 months out. Now, we have had to swap some segments around, but thankfully we have never had to do it yet after the auditions were already closed and the cast list was already put out. So I dread those days. We had an actress a couple months ago the girl that lives in Delaware, make it into the state and then have her appendix burst. So at that point we were swapping in last minute actresses to cover the roles. We've had to do that a couple of times, but thankfully everybody's pretty reliable.
And you don't pay them, which is
No,
amazing.
I don't pay them.
Wait,
No.
you're not getting paid?
That's
No.
how awesome we are.
Sam, you're the only one that's getting paid.
She gets paid?
No. I'm just kidding.
Hey,
Nobody
my
gets-
name's Brian.
Hi,
So,
Brian.
hey. So you mentioned it's at Mad Lab. Like, where's Mad Lab at?
On 3rd Street, downtown.
Near the convention center.
Yeah, it's like a block from the convention center. If you're going across 670 and get off at 3rd Street going south, it's like 1 block away from 670.
Some of us are in a show there this weekend.
Oh, do tell. What is it?
It's a short play festival. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's a different night of 7 plays each night. On Saturday, it's actually what Mad Lab calls Mad Lab Christmas, where all 3 nights perform. There's a 2 o'clock, a 4 o'clock, and an 8 o'clock show.
Well, it's
So-
called Theater Roulette.
Theater Roulette is the name of it. Thank you, Keith.
Oh, no.
He's in it also.
MadLab.net.
Any parental guidance on those? Or?
Everything at Mad Lab I would not bring children to. We try to make our show PG-13 and we're the clean show at the theater. But Mad Lab's cool because they only do original content. So they've been around about 20 years in the city.
So, I'm still Angelo. But,
Hey, still Angela.
hi. So, you keep referring to the troop. Now, is this like the Girl Scouts? Is there other troops all over part of the country, or?
I mean, the way we designed this was that we'd have a troupe of actors that would get to play different roles and come back every month. So this is the only troupe for this type of show that I know of in this country.
It's a TROUPE and
Oh,
not
yeah,
OOP.
sorry.
I'm saying the same thing.
Although if anybody wants to pay us to franchise, we're open to the.
Yes, give us money.
We're open to renting out our scripts.
Well, we can't thank you enough for coming. This has been really good. Well, let's hear it for one last time.
Thank you.
You can find us at IABD Presents on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and also YouTube. So connect with us anywhere, anyway, and audition for us at our website. If you go to our website, there's at IABDpresents.com, and then there's I think it says Radio Hour, and you click on that, or it's all been done radiohour.com. Auditions.
What was that for the site, IABD?
IABD Presents.
Yeah, we're a whole network now. The
Yes.
Radio Hour is just one component. So
Yeah,
Pretty
there's lots
cool.
of stuff on there. So if you
So-
like other types of content, we
podcast,
do-
written
yeah.
work, video, and more.
Yep, all sorts of stuff. So if there's anything you guys want to contribute other than auditioning for us, we're all ears. Complain.
Well, you guys are so good, there's nothing to add.
No, we're trying to build a whole Columbus-based network. So we've got like 7 podcasts, 3 written work series, and a bunch of stuff.
Well, actually, see, what would help you is, how does the word get out? What helps you guys improve your situation? Is there anything we can do?
Well,
Director of Marketing?
Yes, hello. No, yeah. What's helpful is word of mouth is always most effective. So talk about us, let people know about us, subscribe to us on iTunes. You can download, subscribe to our multiple podcasts. You know, there's Dirty Story Night. There's what's the oh my gosh,
It's all been tracked
It's all been tracked before, which is an episode by episode review of Star Trek. So it's pretty awesome. And then there's
The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky.
The Good, the Bad, the Geeky, and there. Sorry, I'm trying to remember.
Today's the Day, Amanda's Picture Show A Go-Go.
Yes, Amanda's Picture Show A Go-Go, and there's another one, the Culture Pop A Go-Go.
Will all of that be listed?
Yes.
Yes, that will all be there.
It's all on
So-
one site.
Yep.
There's a Universe Journey novel you can buy.
Yes. T-shirts.
Fantastic.
And they're not this big. This was a prototype. The ones for sale have a smaller logo.
So buy from us. That'd be awesome. But really,
Chris.
word of mouth. Retweet.
Yeah, come to the shows, share our
come to the
events.
shows.
And to purchase from you, we do what?
Well,
There's a shop logo
Mhm.
on our website, so it'll say, it's got a big money sign and it'll say shop, and you can just scroll through there. And also under our written work, it's gonna say written work, and then there's 4 different things, and the novel is under there as well. So there's 2 places you can buy that.
And the novel and T-shirts are also available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. You've covered your base.
We try.
We're trying.
But any like Jimmy had said, any franchising, any if we we'll take sponsors, anything
Partnerships,
like that.
anything,
Partnerships.
yeah.
If there's anything you would like to do, if you know of someone who is having a hard time getting their podcast started, they can always contact us and say, hey, these guys are expanding, we're growing, we are a startup, we are brand new. So if someone else is saying, well, we only have a couple followers here, well, go to this network, check them out, see if your podcast aligns with our mission statement, and
Join the
maybe we can
network,
work
we'll
together.
cross-promote, yeah.
Yeah.
Do sponsors have to be as good as your cowboy advertising?
Yes, that is the bar.
That's
that
the
we
bar.
put it against.
We should sell fidget spinners, you're right. Let's get some brand of fidget spinners going.
Quit.
Thank you. It's All Been Done Radio Hour number 113 was our first Q&A session at the Columbus Podcast Meetup last spring. Big thank you to the Columbus Podcast Meetup for having us out and for hosting us as we did these last couple of episodes. We hope you enjoy it. Check out our website at itsallbeendoneradiohour.com and follow us on social media at IABD Presents. Have a great week. That's easier.
Top-notch Tangler. Captain Comptroller. One deal.
Thanks, Gomer Pyle.
You're welcome, dude. Going.
What you're asking? We'll take everything every one of them has saved up for their lives. God damn. The pink's messing me up. I should have done yellow. Today, I'd like to tell you about another great product from the IABD company. A first mate. Arlovsky. I'm Carl.
The Russian pilot?
You read my mind.
I really have a plan now.
Excellent.
What's funny about that whole page is as I was writing it, I had no idea what they were going to do, so I basically just let them talk. And by the end of it, I thought of something for them to do. So you're getting my thought process for a page.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'll own up.
We're done. You can come pick